Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at the J7W1. This is going to be the first in a series of 3 of the J7Ws, and this is going to be the propeller-driven version. After this, we see a transition over to jet-powered aircraft, and there was actually a couple of prototypes built of this airframe. This is a bit of a weird design. Pusher prop designs really didn't work as well as they would have liked. I think there was some major issues with cooling and stuff like that when it came to getting these perfected, and they were considered kind of radical at the time. So this airframe is going to actually be a multi-role fighter, which is a little bit interesting. You know, you think multi-role, I got bombs on what's pretty much going to equate to a maneuvering fighter. This thing has, ooh, the engine is very susceptible to damage. It has a 10-second turn time, so it's pretty good. It has also really good control at low air speeds, but what really makes this aircraft dangerous is the fact that it has 4 30mm cannons that are excessively powerful. It has the capability to really wreck an aircraft when it catches it unaware. It can operate at pretty decent altitudes, and it does have good airspeed, not fantastic airspeed, but it is kind of a it's almost like a danger aircraft. Like, and I see one of these and I'm coming in on it, I'm very wary of getting too close to it, because if it catches me unaware, it will put a lot of damage out all at one time with these 430s. It reminds me a lot of the XP-58, which is an American premium tier 8 heavy that carries 437s in the nose. And when that thing blurps away at aircraft, it does very much what this one does. You kind of get this delayed hit response, but it absolutely decimates the airframes that it puts the shells into. Due to its relatively low airspeed, it does give it the ability to make some pretty sharp turns. Albeit we're kind of in a bad situation here. Get those guns around. There we go. Oof. So that Spitfire in the head-on was definitely at a disadvantage when it came to this airframe's guns. Let's go ahead and get back into the fight. We'll try to get towards the middle. The bomb reload is actually going to be 120 seconds, which is not bad. That's decent. I wouldn't call it good, but it's decent enough, and since the airframe is mostly going to be spending a lot of its time brawling over a particular zone, you are going to be good to lose a little bit of the overall airspeed. I don't see it as being a massive loss, but your mileage may vary. It is good for defending zones as well, because it does have a lot of firepower to go after some of these ground attack aircraft, which is what we're about to do right now, vectoring in on this target. Yep, and there it is, massive amount of firepower colliding with that aircraft all at one time. And we're pacing at around 340. We've got a total of a 12-second boost on this thing, so it's pretty good there. We're going to head towards the middle and see if we can even this up a little bit. The range on the guns is not that good. It's only about 1900 feet effective. Does have a decent climb rate, however. Like I said, delayed reaction on some of these munitions when they hit the target. Go. See, it's a multi-role, but it doesn't really fly like a multi-role. It flies more like a fighter aircraft would. Heavy defense capabilities, able to maintain this sector. Like I said, if you ignore this airframe, it's a mistake. It can definitely push out the damage when needed. But it also can operate as a multi-role and capture zones effectively with the cannons, getting them on target very effectively, and the bombs. Bombs cannot be ignored as a massive capability. Good. Love some squall line action.
The enemy is about to win. Push harder.
Looking for easy targets here. Looks like we're catching up on zones. I see a fighter aircraft. Is that going to be the player? No, it's the LA-7. Still would like to take out the LA-7. I see maneuvering aircraft as a major threat to this platform. There we go. Air supremacy achieved. Perfect. The enemy's only down to 2 aircraft left.
Victory is ours.
Whew, that was a close match, but a good fight nonetheless. We ended up racking up Lambert Medal, Guardian, Winged Legend, Conqueror, and Flying Guardian badge. We only got grade 2 multi-role, but I really don't care about that so much. I know that we were doing what we were supposed to be doing. Capturing zones, maintaining those zones. That's what multi-roles are really good for. And we were doing that effectively. Let's go back to the hangar, see how we did, and then we'll talk a little bit about the airframe. Racked up a pretty impressive personal score there of 20,000 for personal points, and we unlocked a pilot skill. That's nice. So we are making some good progress on this airframe. This was my ×3, so we just got 11,000 experience. I'm not going to complain about that. And when we look at the upgrades here, there is a bit of a long road to go down. You have to unlock everything on this airframe. It's very specific to itself. You start out with 420s initially, which aren't bad. They actually have a pretty good reach on them, and they are capable guns. But upgrading to the 30s as soon as possible, I think, is going to be your best bet. I did not put the munitions on until I had already unlocked at least the second engine. Now, the reason I do that is because you're obviously going to be running into essentially an engine power loss. It's going to equate to an engine power loss because external munitions are going to add drag and weight. So I hold off on putting those on until I get at least one engine upgrade. Then I see how it behaves. And since this aircraft isn't really relying on its speed so much, the munitions aren't hurting it too bad. It's meant to just kind of sit in the middle. It's really good at making low speed turns. In fact, its stall speed is, where's the stall speed under maneuverability, is only 75 miles an hour. So this thing can get down to really low speeds and it'll just kick that nose around very effectively. It can go as low as 140 and still maintain its optimum turn speed. So by going at those slower speeds, you actually pull a much smaller turn circle, so you're not moving too far, and it's almost like you're a stationary gun platform, just kind of pivoting around the center point of a zone and just taking shots at aircraft as they pass by like a defensive turret. And I really feel like this aircraft, I feel like I'm a defensive turret a lot of the time. I'll go into a zone, I'll use my speed that I do have to get in there, do what I need to do, because with boost we can get up to 457 fully upgraded, and we'll get in there and we'll attack like we did early on in that battle and use our munitions. But then when we find ourselves kind of centrally located or defending a very important zone, we can just kind of stick it out. We don't need to leave the zone. We can stay relatively centrally located, and we can lay out a lot of damage with these guns. It is important to note here that from the first engine to the second engine, you're actually going to be gaining, I think it's close to 500 horsepower, maybe 400 and some change. But then when you go from the second engine to the third engine, you're actually gaining 1,300 horsepower. That is a massive boost in overall engine power. And the important thing of the engine power is it doesn't really increase your speed and cruise speed that much, but it does increase your acceleration. And that acceleration is going to be important for doing those momentary turns we've talked about, where you hit the air brakes, you lower the airspeed, and then you instantaneously hit the boost right after that. So you essentially slow the aircraft in the turn, and then you use that to kind of almost like slide the tail out from underneath you in order to make that turn happen a little bit more quickly. And it seems to be very effective with pusher prop designs, because in the XP-55, the American pusher prop aircraft, I've had similar results. So it's definitely something to bear in mind, that this thing doing instantaneous turns is very good, which is why, despite having a 10.6 turn time, which seems like a slow turn time, it's actually pretty good for this tier, since you're starting to see a lot more jets, so they lose a lot of the turning capability but increase overall speed. This has that ability to get those momentary turns, to be able to get around on things like Spitfires and stuff. So it is a very viable platform, but from everything I've heard looking at other reviews, the J7W1 wasn't nearly as good as going to the J7W2 and further on. It's this prop design kind of limits your capabilities, but you actually get better cannons, different cannons, as you progress down the line. Just to take a look so I'm not misspeaking here. Yes, there's a Type 17, which gets a little bit more range and a lot more damage going to the next tier, and those will be the same guns that you see on the Tier 10. So you get a little bit more reach, you get a little bit more damage, and the overall characteristics of the platform go up as well, because you're going to see that the airspeed instantaneously, right from the get-go, with a stock setup on the W2, is going to be seeing an airframe that can push up to 500 miles an hour. Now, again, you're looking at Tier 9, where aircraft are able to push up to incredible speeds compared to you right off the bat. This is going to keep you competitive as you go up the tiers. So, like I said, I've heard that it gets better the further along you get. It is a weird looking aircraft. I'm enjoying it just for that aspect. And while it looks like it's probably small just based on cockpit position and everything, if you take a look at like a heavy aircraft, you'll see that this thing actually is a pretty decent sized airframe compared to some others that are out there. Yeah, look at this. Vampire J7W. It also sits very tall, and I think it's weird that the thing actually has 5 wheels, because it's got these little wheels over the vertical stabilizers in the back. But anyways, enough about weird looking plane stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will catch you on the next one.